Today we're going to be talking about one actual set that's going to be making a huge power swing in the TCG when it releases in August, on August 1st, being Justice Hunters. Now, overall, Justice Hunter was a set that a lot of people overlooked. Dracotail. Everyone wanted to play Yummy, and then K9 was here like, oh, it's cool. And it does turn skip stuff with Paradise Smasher, but we overlooked one of the core essentials about Yu-Gi-Oh! Setting from deck and fusion summoning. Those two, hand in hand, time and time again, they are actually really good. So let's get right into this whole entire discussion. Justice Hunters has 3 new decks, being Dracotail, Yummy, and K9, and all of them have their unique aspects, where Yummy is a synchro strategy that ends on a very mildish board where K9 is mostly used as an engine with Izuna and Lupus to make Ripper, or even going into Nash Knight on the opponent's turn, either turn 1 or during your turn if they activated a monster effect in the hand, like Ash Blossom Joy Springs or Ghost Bell, or even stuff like the Molcharmies. So there are engines that you could do with the K9 stuff. But today we're going to be focusing on the whole entire aspect of what Dracotail is, and why it's going to be one of the most meta-threatening decks in quite some time, since something like Tearlament and Kashtira, and even Snake Eye. So let's break down some of the good cards in the deck and what you're going to be mostly seeing. Well, first up, we're going to be taking a look at the Dracotail Femina. She is a discard effect to fusion summon 1 dragon or spellcaster fusion monster as a quick effect using monsters from your hand or field. If this card alone is sent to the graveyard as for a fusion summon, you can set a Dracotail spell or trap card from your deck. Now, all the Dracotail monsters have that effect of setting from the deck if it's sent to the graveyard as a fusion material, like how we have Urgla out here being able to, if this card is just sent to the graveyard for a fusion material, you can set one from directly to the deck. And then if this card is in your graveyard, you can target 1 spellcaster Dracotail monster in your graveyard, place this card on the bottom, and if you do, add that monster to your hand. So it recycles all your Dracotail spellcasters like Femina here, and it is really good because you could just constantly do that over and over again while gaining advantage. Then we have Dracotail Mural. It is a quick effect on the main phase. You can fusion summon 1 Dracotail fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field, and it locks you into fusion summoning for the rest of the turn. And if, of course, sent to the graveyard, you get to set a Dracotail spell trap card from your deck, but then you can negate the effects of 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. So it's a 2-for-1, being able to go into your Dracotail Altherian, and you get to negate a monster on the board. So you can negate something like a Typhon, which is really strong. Now, after that, you have the Altherian, one of your main boss monsters that you could be going into. It takes the Dracotail monster plus 1 or more monsters in the hand, and if this card is fusion summoned, you can target monsters on the field and or in the graveyard up to the number of monsters used as material from the hand, return them to the hand, and if 2 or more monsters are sent to the graveyard at the same time while it's in the graveyard, just special summon it to the field, but banish it when it leaves the field. Honestly, it's a very powerful boss monster, and realistically, it is a 3 of in the deck from what we've been seeing. Some have opted for 2 because the extra deck space is tight, but 3 is the one that you mainly want to go for. And then you also have the other Dracotail, being Dracotail Grammel. It takes a Dracotail monster and 1 monster in the hand, and when you activate a Dracotail card or effect, quick effect, you can target a card your opponent controls, destroy it. So if you have this on the field and then a Grammel, or if your opponent has a Typhon and you have a Grammel, you go and use the effect of your Dracotail Femina, you just get to chain to pop the Typhon to summon out Altherian, just to bounce cards back to the hand that's in your graveyard and monsters your opponent controls. So this is a really powerful boss monster, being able to recur your resources for free. Now, some of the cards you're going to be setting is Ketsu Dracotail, which is just adding a Dracotail monster from your deck to your hand, and if your opponent controls a monster, you get to fusion summon 1 dragon or spellcaster fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field. And then we have Rahu, which literally is just another polymerization using monsters from your hand, deck, and or field. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except fusion monsters, which is really good because this allows you to send things like Fallen at Albaz or even Dark Magician if you're on the Primite engine, but luckily all the fusions say 1 monster in the hand or 1+ monsters in the hand. Now, why do I bring this up about the Primate build? It is one of the more prominent builds in the OCG, as we can see here, being able to utilize things like Dark Magician, where you can go Ether Barrel, grab your Lordly Load, set the Drill Beam, use the Lordly Load to summon the Dark Magician, link away into Imduke, just to go into Heretic Seal. And then on the opponent's turn, you can go effect the seals, tributing to bounce to summon out the Merle from deck, and then using Merle to quick effect fusion summon into Altherian, as you can activate it whenever during the main phase, so you can get a multi-bounce for resources or to interrupt your opponent. Or you can go into your Grandma and just be able to chain something like a Femina just to do a quick effect fusion so you can get the destruction off the Grandma. Now, as we can see in the OCG, it has gone from something like a 33 to a 35 to 45% meta differentiation, just being in the meta at 45% is very powerful. Now, other things I do want to note with the deck, the other versions that are being seen are things like the pure variant, which is very potent, the Primate Dracotail version, the Magistus Dracotail, Fiendsmith Dracotail, and Canine Dracotail, or Fiendsmith Canine Dracotail. As we could see in some of the lists that we've seen, we could see that they're running things like Blazing Cartesia as a spellcaster along with Shaddoll Beast to access things like El Shaddoll Winda, and also Blazing Cartesia being a tuner, so you can go into the Snake Eyes Vengeance Dragon, or you can even look at the Magistus version where they're running Magistus Spoon and the new Crawley, just to go into things like the new Zora fusion monster, Osweiss, or even the brand new fusion monster that is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Structured manga, being the Invoked Magistus Omega, which is really great. And also you can see them running things like the brand new Endymion, the Crescent of Magistus, because it allows you to target a Magistus monster you control, equip one spellcaster from your graveyard of banishment to it, giving you a monster in the spell and trap card zone for something like a Snake Eyes Doomed Dragon, which is very powerful, as Magistus allows you to utilize that aspect of the deck. And we also have other things where they're utilizing things like Regenesis for additional bodies, because I believe they have a card that is 2500 defense, being your Femina, which is crazy to think about. And I definitely think it is the Altherian with the 2500 defense as well. So there's quite a bit to go off of. I think that those are the only ones with the 2500 stats, because why not? Other things that you'll be seeing this deck run are things like Mysterion, the Dragon Crown, because it's a good generic fusion monster, and Chaos, the Photo Star Dragon, I believe the name it is. But if they're also running the small branded fusion engine, you'll definitely see them on Alba Lunatus, because you could just set the Albaz and then contact all your Dragon fusions away just to summon it out. And they can also go Libellion into Marajade, because those are just really good cards, because you could send the Alba Lunatus and search out a fusion spell card, which is very powerful because it just gets to your branded fusion. And honestly, it is a very scary deck nonetheless. And most of the decks are very monster heavy, so things like Anti-Spell Fragrance really doesn't work, but it does stop them from activating the turn that they're set. So it could be useful in that regard, but many players have gone to deciding, let's try and play Retaliating Sea, while in the TCG, one of the options that we do have that was recently reprinted, unlike the OCG, since it's been 18 years since it was reprinted, being non-fusion area, which neither player can fusion summon. But it's a little tricky because they do end on Heretic Seal to return it back to the hand, allowing them to summon out their Merle. So you're kind of going to need two of them to kind of do something. But it's very interesting on a deck level with the whole entire Dracotail theme because of what it can actually do. It has been pushing OCG players away from their locals because of how potent the deck is and how little counters they are. And one of the main counters, like I said, is Retaliating Sea. Nibiru really doesn't do much because most of the time they're only summoning 4 times during their turn and then doing another 3 to 4 on your turns. So it's just one of things like that. It's kind of hard because there is not a lot to counteract setting from deck. Players have been hoping for a hand trap that stops that, but we'll see what happens in the future. Now, overall, what do I think about how this game's going to handle Justice Hunters? Well, this is going to be releasing after all 4 WCQs. So the last one's going to be the WCQ over in Germany, and we'll probably see a Forbidden Limited list around that time, so they can push out the old cards to help sell the new cards. So I give it a 1 to 2 week span window after the NAWCQ for this stuff to be actually legal, but we'll have to see what happens on that. And also, if this is going to be legal for Worlds, world is going to be super messy because we're going to have Dracotail being legal along with Canine and Yummy, and one of those decks are probably going to win because right now Primite Blue Eyes, that deck actually fell off super hard. There's not really any Primite Blue Eyes in the recent Road to the King article because of how hard it fell off. Overall, what do I think about Justice Hunters? It is a set that's very good with 3 decks that are coming out that will be meta relevant right out of the box, where one of them is extra potent and another one's just an engine while the other one can stand its ground, as we see with Yummy being just this whole entire just level 2 Link 1 toolbox deck. Honestly, it's very cool. And then Malice is still there. Malice is going to be the best deck for Nationals most likely, so keep an eye out on that, and we'll have to see what happens with Ryseal as well. But overall, I definitely think that Justice Hunter is a set that you definitely want to pick up if you're interested in any of the themes. I might test my hand with Dracotail with how much power it can hold. But anyways, I've been BoltSpider. If you guys did enjoy, hit that like button down below, and if you want to see more content like that in the future, or like this, hit that subscribe button and also hit that like button. And also, use my TCG player link down in the description below for more videos like this, because this was edited by one of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Organization editors. Probably, if I got there that far. But anyways, I've been BoltSpider. See you guys in the next video, and goodbye.